Under the hood, after SegWit, they created something called Taproot, which I've spent quite a bit of time recently reviewing. And it turns out that innovations built on top of this ecosystem are allowing some degree of programmability for Bitcoin. Not enough for it to ascend to what Cardano can do or Ethereum can do, but enough for Bitcoin to begin to talk to other ecosystems. And when combined with technology like nested transactions, our variant of Babel fees, it basically means that you can create a DeFi layer for Bitcoin and pay transaction fees in Bitcoin. The revelation of this, and after reviewing the technology, realizing that it actually has a path to work, reinvigorated my love of the ecosystem, because Bitcoin went from a sleeping giant never to awaken in an innovation coma to an awakened giant that is 4 times the size of Solana and Ethereum combined. Reality is that should these floodgates open, it is my belief that DeFi and the Bitcoin ecosystem will eclipse DeFi and all ecosystems in the cryptocurrency industry within 24 months to 36 months. And that's just because of scale and liquidity. As good as Ethereum can be, and Solana can be, and Cardano can be, let's be intellectually honest about this. Governments are talking about a strategic reserve of Bitcoin and Bitcoin alone. It's their entry point. And perhaps in 5 or 10 and 15 years, that dialogue and narrative will change. But it is my belief that Bitcoin is going to go to $250,000 to $500,000 within the next 12 to 24 months because of the investment inflows and the great interest that has been achieved. This will translate to an ecosystem whose value is starting to approach that of gold, an asset humans have used as a store of value for over 5,000 years. Simply put, Bitcoin is the store of value for the internet, and it will remain in that role for the foreseeable future now that it has a DeFi layer. So one of the big strategic priorities for me in 2025 is making sure that Cardano doesn't get left out of this story. As we are in many ways a spiritual successor, it is the best place to write an application that is a hybrid application that has a Bitcoin mode and a Cardano mode. This is why we got initially very excited about the prospect of things like Bitcoin OS and Grail Bridge. I want to be very clear here. I understand the ethos of the Bitcoin ecosystem better than most, and they really don't like other tokens. And that's okay. It's their prerogative. Bitcoin earned the right to be Bitcoin. And as a result, it doesn't have to wake up every day and say, boy, I love all these other tokens floating around, all these other assets floating around. They want to say Bitcoin is king and we only want to live in Bitcoin land. There should be an option for people who hold that philosophy to be able to do so. Thus, whatever bridge exists and whatever hybrid application model that exists for Bitcoin DeFi, it's very clear to me that that model must include and ought to include, has to include an option where you always pay with your Bitcoin. Full stop. Other tokens pollute this narrative and frankly speaking, will ensure the failure of the project.